I'm Matt Braunger. This might help.
I am not a doctor.
This might help.
I'm not a professional.
Let's have fun. This honestly is a good time.
Honestly, I got no idea what I'm doing. What's going on? Who are you?
I'm Matt Braunger. This might help. The podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for coming to This Might Help Live. Let me hear you. All right. Man. Not that it's been a tough year and a half for any of us, but we're out, and that's nice. Something that we're maybe not as used to as we were. But I am so thankful that everyone's here, especially the Mighties. What's happening, folks? For those of you who don't know, fans of the show are called Mighties, and the fact that nobody cheered feels great. I actually had a couple people being like, why the Mighties? It sounds like tough. I'm like, no, let me explain. Let me put it on record right now what it means. It means might, like someone who might do something or might not do something. That's what a mighty is. The whole name of this podcast is This Might Help. It might. I don't know. Might fucking not. At all. At all. The best analogy I've always thought of is when you're at a party in college and you're tripping balls or something and a friend offers you a strange drug that he hasn't even had and he's like, I don't know, this might help. That's it right there. So again, as I always say, disclaimer, I know it might be getting old for long-time listeners, but if you actually need clinical help and you're worried about your health, please talk to a professional. This is for fun. I don't do this because I'm good at giving advice. Believe you me. I'm okay, and it's a fun way to engage with people, and we've actually done more good than harm, if I'm honest. I used to have a podcast called Advice from a Dipshit, and I think people took the whole idea wrong, thinking I'd be like, blow rails of coke and eat someone's butt on a train, or something like that, which is good advice, side note. But without further ado, I just want to say we are at the High Plains Festival. Let's have a hand for that, which is fantastic. It's an amazing, amazing fest run by some amazing people. Speaking of which, I have the founder of said fest with me, who is a longtime friend and a guy I admire, and to me is like an OG father and someone I look up to in that. For those of you listening, I have a kid now. Okay, please welcome the hilarious Adam Cayton-Holland, everybody.
Hello. Hello, Mighties. I'm worried there might be a crossover with diehard Boston fans. They're also the Mighties. And that's your Venn diagram.
I'm sure someone has already taken it, for sure. Yeah, I didn't do any research to find out if it was already taken or not. It was just something suggested to me. I was like, good, run with it, fine. Because, like, one rule in the show is we never Google shit. You know what I mean? If someone's like, what's the measurement in? I don't know. 12 inches. Done. You know, it doesn't bother me to not look things up, and I want it to come from the hip. But first off, dude, I'm glad you're on the show, and I'm going to try to get out of this kind of stiff radio host interview style I feel stuck in right in this moment, if I'm honest with all you guys. But one thing I love about the show is I'll have friends on and catch up with them. You seem like you're doing awesome, man.
Thanks. I project success, but it's inner failure. No, just kidding.
Okay.
No, I'm doing great. I got 2 kiddos.
Yes.
And that's actually, it makes me very, very happy, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I'm doing well, man.
Yeah, we had a super cool guy conversation downstairs in the green room about butt rashes. And 'cause my daughter Rose is here right now at the bar chugging milk. Yeah, hand for Rose. That's for you, honey. Sorry about your butt rash. And you mentioned your little one.
Yeah,
your little
Ellis.
son.
Ellis currently has a butt rash too. I was like, let's get into this.
Yeah.
What are the shapes? What are the colors?
Yeah, and I was thinking, is this a conversation Gwar has had here with each other? You know what I mean? Or other metal bands? And like, yeah, my kid has a little butt rash or whatever. And I just remember being in this bar and being hammered as hell. And now I'm here with a kid. Life. It's just bananas.
Yeah, that was 9 months ago.
Yeah, well, Rose wasn't here, man.
Right.
Be cool. And I wanted to talk about you headed back to Denver because I feel like one of the ways, that's how you, in a way, you kind of found your joy. Is that too
100%.
intense?
No, I love that question. I'm
Okay.
down to answer that. I mean, I never really left.
Okay.
We did our show, Those Who Can, out in L.A., and we filmed 3 seasons, and that was about 4.5 years of our lives. Mm-hmm. And I would just drive out, my wife and I and the dogs, and spend 6 months there writing it and shooting it. And then as soon as we wrapped, I would drive the fuck back.
Holy shit.
And we rented out our place here. And I just kind of never wanted to leave. So I always had a foot here.
That's wild.
Ben and Andrew moved there and have since come back. But yeah, it was always sort of my goal to stay here because I'm just happier here, and LA gets me in a competitive go Hollywood mindset.
Yeah.
It's like an ugly side of myself that I embrace too wholeheartedly when I'm there.
Oh, man.
And so I don't like that part of me.
I will say, I think we both have the eye of the tiger. Like, we always saw that in each other. Like, we always had this kind of strange ambition. And I think it's gotten us into more trouble than any kind of fortunate anything.
100%.
Yeah, it's just so fucking stupid. It's good to work hard, but when you have, I mentioned this to you before, you know, I think we both used to have these goals that were just like, if I only get that, man, I'd be happy. Bullshit. Not true.
It's so sad but true. It's like if I just had a TV show, that'd be it. I would win life. And then you did it for 3 seasons. It was awesome. I'm so glad I have that under my belt, but I'm just like desperately like, what's next?
Yeah.
I'm not happy at all about it. I just want more. And so you have to just chill and pull yourself out of that headspace and be like, I got 2 healthy boys.
Yeah.
I'm good.
They're fucking amazing. That's it. That's the name of the game. I literally have my daughter interrupting my fucking show right now, and I love it. Just talking.
And
just
the
talking.
Mighties love it.
It was just like, you know, she was born to not give a shit about me. Like, I met a guy, my wife and I drove clear across the country because we lost our minds and California caught fire. 2 good reasons. And we met a guy at we had an electric car at a charging station in Alabama who told me that, you know, having a girl's the best thing ever. They love you like you wouldn't believe till they're 13, then they hate your fucking guts till they're 30. I'm like, that sounds about right, you know?
You were giving me OG dad points. I saw that trip on your social media and was blown the fuck away by your ambition of taking a baby that young on a drive across the country.
In a pandemic and passing packed Cracker Barrel after packed Cracker Barrel. Like, just trying to get takeout food and just being like, these guys are insane, man. It was like, to me, it felt like a zombie movie where I'm like, I hope they don't notice me and yank me in.
Yeah, just running in a hazmat suit, get some biscuits, and run the fuck out.
Exactly. I mean, I think what you say about LA is absolutely true, and it's always beautiful, you know what I mean? Which I don't think is necessarily healthy. I do actually love LA, and I'm reading a book called Everything Now about how it actually is more of a city-state than it is a city, because everything is there, and that's a good and a bad thing. Like, if you can kind of reconcile yourself with that, that's cool. I dig it. My wife and I have a house there, and you know, I like, you know, how there you can get any kind of voice or any kind of person and any kind of thing there, but it's overwhelming, and I think a city that's a lot more harsh, like New York, is a better place to learn, in a sense, to be a performer. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I should have learned when I did Letterman, because I did great, and they were like, that was fantastic. He shook my hand. They were like, we'd love to have you back. And they put me out a side door, and it slammed. I'm in a cold alley by myself in the dead of winter. Like, fuck, did that happen? Like, it felt like I stepped out of a dream. And I think you need that. You need that kind of kick in the ass to be like, this won't last. You got to make stuff that will.
But I'm so jealous of your Letterman credit, because Letterman is my fucking. I love Letterman. With our second son, my wife and I were literally considering, like, do we name him David Letterman Cayton-Holland? Do we just have a living tribute to David Letterman Cayton-Holland? So, like, even if that door slammed on you, that's a cool feather in your cap, my friend.
It was rad, and I kind of did like the kick in the butt. Not that I love abuse, but I think it's necessary at some times.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think it's good. What have you, like, by sticking to your guns and going back here, did you have, it didn't seem like you had any kind of regret, which I thought was rad.
It's weird. I mean, everybody projects what they want to project, but it's always a grass is greener situation.
Right.
And I always wonder, like, if I'm there, would I be getting more things and be more in the comedy zeitgeist? And,
Right.
And then you go there for a week and get it out of your system, and like you're like, cool, I got 4 podcasts and I tried for 8. I guess I'll go back to Denver.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as immediate as you think it's going to be. So
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But I think people think I hate LA, and I don't at all. I just, it's not for me. And I also think the city's so interesting. Like, if you can't have fun in LA, you're not fun.
Right.
There's so much cool shit in that city.
It's true. But I love that you guys you kept the Grawlix together, and you still are homegrown, and you're still making good shit, and you're successful without being misogynistic. Like, how's that work for 3 white dudes? Like,
no. We've changed the formula. It's pure misogyny. We're going for the...
You must be printing money.
Yeah,
You're
dude.
Patreon.
We're going for the alt-right angle.
Woo!
We tried being
Absolutely.
liberals. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're. I think we've always just tried to be as inclusive as 3 white dudes could do.
Yeah.
And we, Denver's like exploding comedically. There's so many new great voices, so we're always just trying to like show them, put them on the Grawlix, and broadcast them a little further with our platform.
Yeah. Can I pitch a new name?
Please.
I love Grawlix. The Proudest Boys. Is that like the most proud of all the boys?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Speaking of, did you pass the Capitol on the way here? They're doing that like pro-Trump rally thing, like they stole the election. It's going on right now at the Capitol. It was baffling. I just drove by. I circled around because it's on a one-way street, and I was going one way the other way. And I was like, I got to get a better look. So I circled around and just put my thumb down out the window and just drove the whole
That'll show
block.
'em.
And I really feel like I changed a few minds out there, guys.
Well, and the ironic thing is if either of us, our pictures showed up like we're looking for this man for the Capitol riot in the main Capitol, you know what I
Sure.
mean? It fits. Little Bass Pro Shop gear, we're there. We're
Dude,
there with those guys.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, every Cracker Barrel you passed, you could have just hopped out and become one.
What if we just became spies, you and me?
Like libtard spies.
Yeah. Totally.
That's the show.
There we go. So we just kind of hang out with them and be like, oh, yeah, I hate chicks too. High five. And then kind of learn their ways. And
What if that's how they all are? They all started with those noble of intentions, but they got pulled in.
But they're like having so much fun watching Rocky movies over and over and over and,
And
over
just
again.
shooting shit.
Yeah.
Just going out to the woods and shooting
The
shit.
best. Yeah, wearing flak jackets, no military experience whatsoever.
Did you watch the Capitol riot? Like
Yeah.
I was glued to the TV that day, and I have a joke about it, but it's very true. It's like
Me too.
I just wish that I could have been in the presence of people who had performed successful coups.
Right.
Watching that, like
Yeah.
former dictators and generals, just being like, "Okay, you're fucking in, guys. You
Yeah.
did it. I can't believe it. It's happening in America. Stop taking photos of yourself. Like, why are you filming YouTube
Why are you filming
footage?
yourself?
Why is that guy in Pelosi's
They
office?
track
Like,
you on your phone. You have your phone?
burn the votes.
Get
Spill
off
their
Facebook.
blood.
Jesus
Why
Christ.
are you carrying a lectern? Like, so frustrated at the ineptitude of this.
Now, I
Coup.
like to ask this to an audience. Who is your favorite Capitol rioter? I know it's tough, but who's your number one? That's right, MAGA shaman. I see you doing the headdress. That guy was my favorite because he was the king appropriator. Native American headdress, Celtic tree of life around his tip.
I didn't see that.
And he had a pierced nipple. And the reason I like him, not only because he snitched right away.
Oh, 100%.
Still got 4 years, God bless him. But they were all just like, whose fucking man is this? Why? Nipple ring? The fuck, man? Don't tell me this guy's gay. Like, it messed with them. There's definitely a guy who was like, all right, look, I'm carrying a Confederate flag so big, people are tripping on it behind me, but this guy makes us look ridiculous.
I don't know. Like, he was very ridiculous, but everybody looked like buffoons. He kind of scared me. Like, there was some psychological warfare going on there.
Oh, yeah.
That I was just like if the other generals were watching, they're like, this is a guy we could use. Like, they'd pull him out and be like, you can be a foot
Yeah.
soldier in our Bolivian fucking coup.
I'll go first because I have something in mind, but I'm going to ask you before we go to our first call. We have 4 calls, which is rad. I usually only do 3, but Adam is such a deliciously handsome man. We got a 4th.
They're all my wife.
That's why. And youngest son.
Yeah.
All vowels. But I'm gonna throw this to you. If you went in the Capitol riot, let's say we're spies.
Okay.
Okay, and we're gonna go big in the costume department. We're
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
go Bass Pro Club shop. We're gonna go MAGA shaman.
Okay.
style. So I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna dress as Serpentor from G.I. Joe, who was the leader of Cobra, an amalgam of all the great military leaders, and he had a big Cobra headdress and a bare chest.
Jesus.
Super homoerotic. You know what I mean? I would just do so many push-ups that week and just try to get super ripped and just be dressed like that and just nudge against them too much and stuff and just grease myself, just baby oil my whole body, like an 80s action movie guy. That would be me.
That's
you
great.
know? And I would be like, Serpent Dan or something, like a stupid fucking name and insist everyone call me that. I'll throw it to you.
I'm torn between 2 ideas that popped into my head. Old school Harlem Globetrotter uniform, but rollerblading in. Or like a very quality Rocksteady Bebop costume from like
Yes.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One of those guys.
So either Sweet Lou Dunbar or Crazy Legs.
100%.
Oh my God! If you just as anything vaguely like black culture, it would be so amazing.
Yeah, that's how bananas it was.
be like,
If you just saw a Harlem Globetrotter guy in the background, like, is that fucking happening?
What? I'm a fan. My kid loves him. Let's
What was
fucking
it?
storm this bitch.
Sorry, there was also that guy from Mr. Show. Remember? Like he was an extra on Mr.
Oh
Show.
yeah.
I can't remember the actor's name.
Jay, right? Yeah.
And then that day they're like, can you identify these people? And all of comedy was like, yeah, we can identify that
Yeah.
guy. It's the dude from fucking Mr. Show.
God, like I kind of knew him. Haven't seen him for over 15 years. But
What
like,
have you been up to?
my heart just sank. I was like, oh, fucking, anyone you'd know. Even if it was just like a guy who dropped off a FedEx box, you'd be like, fucking Cliff.
Come on, not
Really?
that day. No
God
deliveries
damn
that day,
it.
Cliff.
No, why? So we're gonna go to the calls, and I don't know. I think I told you, people who are new to the show, if you just came, I really appreciate you being here. First off, and if you're listening to the podcast, I appreciate you a lot too. But just to let you know, I don't hear the calls. My producer Renee hears them. In this case, Jake Brown. Let's have a hand for Jake, who is stepping in for Renee, and. He produced a show with myself and Kyle Kinane called Hey Girl over the pandemic, where we would do Zoom calls with random strangers and make fun of their apartments and get drunk. So he was great on that, and he'll be great on this. But he basically has ordered the calls and chosen the four. So, I also asked this. Do you get asked advice a lot?
No, definitely not.
Okay, great. So let's roll the first call.
Hi, Matt. I want to shave my head. Kind of. I love my hair. My girlfriend loves my hair. But I keep looking at myself in the mirror, and I am torn because I grew a great mustache over quarantine, and I've always had hair, and I'm non-binary, and for some reason doing crazy shit with your hair just makes sense to me. But also I'm torn because it somehow feels more permanent than any tattoo I've ever gotten. Is that strange to be this attached to something like hair? Anyways, thanks. Can't wait to see you next time you're in Ann Arbor. Bye.
As you are my guest, I'll let you take first crack.
I mean, is he asking, should I shave my head, basically, was what he was saying?
Yeah, and not to pronoun you, but it's a they.
It's a they.
It would
Yes,
be a they.
you're totally right.
Yeah.
They were asking, should I shave my head? I mean, I'd like to see the head.
Yeah.
And that is the risk. Have you ever shaved your head?
Never.
I did high school soccer hazing. We got to like various rounds of the playoffs, and then once we got to the quarterfinals, it was the juniors' turns, and they shaved all of our heads.
Wow.
And it wasn't a good look for me. And that was when I had, a full head of hair,
Yeah.
high school, just prime. But I've never done it since. So I think if you can grow it back well, why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely, why not? It sounds like you got a mustache, so no hair and a mustache is a cool look.
Yeah.
But if you can't grow it back well, if it's not growing back at the pace you want, I'd say hold on to the rest you got, like, for dear life. It'll go bald itself.
Yeah, it won't help. It's not like my father's generation believed the more you shave something, the more hair would grow, and that's entirely not true.
Not on
I
the
don't know
top. Not on the
where
top.
They got that idea.
I got the formula licked, guys.
I think one guy shaved his back with a straight razor and hurt himself horribly, and the hair grew back weird or something like that. But,
yeah, it's platoon stuff.
Yeah. I think, if it sounds like, caller, it's burning at you, and I think you should maybe try it. Don't have your partner come after me screaming, why'd you let them shave their head? But it sounds like something you want to do. I think it's hilarious and very Generation Z that you think it's more permanent than a tattoo. That's very telling. That's hilarious. Because young people just be like, yeah, I got, suck my nuts right here on my neck. I'm like, why not?
I'm a SoundCloud rapper.
You know what I mean? When am I not going to work in this cubicle for Facebook or whatever they do? It's just like, look to the future. But like, I also think being non-binary, I think you just get the pick of the litter. You can do any look you want. Not that anyone can't. Anyone here can, but I think when you're non-binary, you just kind of can go nuts in any kind of direction. It's kind of like how, everybody loves you when you're bi. Yeah. Not to quote the Bible. I think that's Book of Mark, I think. But
that was your other podcast.
Yeah, and when you said shaven head and a mustache, that's a hot look.
That's a great look.
I love that look, man. I would be arrested immediately with that look. But I think for some people, it's really, I would look like the guy from The Hills Have Eyes if I did that, but with a mustache, which is almost like a swinger mutant. Like, that's weird.
I've had this beard for a long time.
I know.
And now that I have sons, I really want to just fuck with their heads and shave it one night and just see the terror in their eyes. But my wife really does not want me to do that.
I did drag queen bingo via Zoom with my daughter and friends, and it was 80s night because it was an 80s themed party because our friend Trish just was turning 40 and she was born in 80, and she I put on like one of those headbands with the hair built in, so you have an instant mullet. And I had Rose in my lap, and she turned and was like, ah! Like just screamed like I was a maniac that crawled through a broken window or something. So if I shaved my beard, I can't imagine.
Yeah, you all know. We had the teacher that had the mustache, and then one day something was wrong in his life, and he shaved it, and you're like, no, Mr. Trento, don't do this.
Not cool. Like, you can talk about a history all you want, but your face looks like trash. You look awful. Yeah, exactly. But I think, caller, I think you sound young, and you can afford to make some mistakes if it is a mistake, and the hair will grow back. So God bless, and good luck to you, and Godspeed. I think you regret the stuff you didn't do much more than the stuff you did, generally speaking. Not like, drunk driving or something like that, but like taking little chances like that and kind of being, I'll never forget, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I should share this in the pod. I remember once in college, in my freshman year, I had this really soft, ugly Hawaiian shirt I just loved wearing. And I was wearing it around, and all these other students kept making fun of me. And then I changed into something else, and one of those kids saw me later the day. I was like, yeah, he changed. And that hurt way more than them making fun of my Hawaiian shirt. So I think you got to do it for you, and it sounds like people don't want you to, but you want to. I think you've made the decision already. Hope that helps. Okay, let's roll the next call.
Hey, Braunger. Hey, Adam. Matt, it's Justin from Mansfield. I love the live format for this. Hope it goes so great. So I'm calling for some future dad advice from a couple of dads. Me and my fiance have known we're pregnant for a little bit, but we just found out it was a boy. And I had honestly prepared myself to have a girl because I just feel like it's the one I would be better at, right? Like, get out there, kick everyone's ass, burp in public, don't take no for an answer, and just take over the world. Well, now I'm like, fuck, I apply that same logic to a son, and I'm going to be arguing with like a boneheaded libertarian in 20 years. So, not trying to get too gender obsessed because who really knows, but how do I raise a non-toxic, sensitive son when what I plan to do was raise a completely toxic asshole daughter? So, thank you. Love you, Matt. See you soon. And good luck. Thanks.
Okay, a little preface. That's my friend Justin, who grew up with my wife, who I've become really good friends with. He and his wife were pregnant and sadly lost the child, and now they're pregnant again with a boy. And I should say, my instinct, my gut, is wrong so often, much like the stereotypical men's sense of direction that you've heard made fun of in a million things. I literally was like, I know it's a boy. I know I'm having a son. Got to get ready. And I had the same question in my head that Justin just gave us. And when the doctor called me and was like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm just like, it's a son. Like, no, I would have bet $1,000. Like, no question. She's like, it's a girl. And I'm like, like I wept so hard in the kitchen. It hit me so hard emotionally that I was just like, yeah, it's a girl, Especially because like I'm an old dad, so it's kind of like having this awesome, not last chance, but you get what you get where I'm coming from. But I love that he called about that because he is for sure having a son, and you're raising two great boys. And
strapping, robust, pugilistic little dudes.
Hardcore pirates. The oldest one's already tattooed. Looks good, by the way.
Yeah, they're going to fight me like the Bush sons one day.
Are you sure he'll like the band 311, though?
I'm positive.
Okay, cool. Just throwing that out there.
Omaha Styley, dude.
But I think Justin's an old friend of mine, but I think this question is for you, man.
Well, Justin, I have to say the fact that you're thinking about this and asking this type of question shows what a good dad you'll be and the type of non-toxic son you will raise. I think people who are toxic, these thoughts do not enter their brains, and they don't think about how to raise a sensitive man in this world, and one that goes out and is like just and fair and aware of his white male privilege and tries to make the world a better place. So I think you're already ahead of the game. But I do also just think a healthy baby is a miracle. And so it does. If it's a boy, it's a girl. You're so lucky, and it's gonna be fine. And I got 2 sons. We didn't know the sex the first time. We were just surprised when it came out. And then the second one, I wanted a girl. You want a boy and a girl? That'd be great. But I didn't want to greet him with that energy if he was born a boy, being like, no, I'm disappointed. So we found out what the sex was. So I knew it's like I got a second boy coming, and I just think it's an opportunity to just put better fucking white dudes out into the world and teach them what and I don't think it's that hard. I mean, if they start acting like little frat idiots, smack them around a little bit, Justin. Get their heads in, get their, but I think your mindset already shows you're on the right path.
Yeah, and no matter what you tell your kid, you can sit there and read your son a copy of Our Bodies, Ourselves or whatever, but it's all by example. It's all them watching you and how you treat women, about how you treat people who aren't the same color as you, or the same sexual predilection or whatever. It's really, I grew up with a dad who grew up in Sioux City, Iowa, and probably had a very racist upbringing, and I remember him going to seminars to meet other people of other cultures with different backgrounds, and he would tell me he did it to kind of be a better man. And that, I remember as a kid, like that locked in my skull, where it's like, yeah, you should work toward improving yourself. My personal philosophy on life, not to get too deep or anything, or share too much, or, really blow your skirt right up, is just to keep improving your problems. That's the key. Like, you're always going to have problems. There's always going to be something that makes you go, fuck, but you want that thing to be better than it was a couple years ago if you can. And I think you having that son, I would worry about that same thing, but I worry about that having a daughter too. Like, my daughter is 1 year old, a sociopath, like doesn't care about anything but herself. And it's kind of like you have that dumb fear where you're like, gosh, I hope she grows out of this, where she quits dry gulching me all the time. I have to take her away from her mom. That's a punch in the throat for you guys who don't know. That's what that means, to dry gulch somebody.
It's also delicious beer. We're sponsor of the festival, Dry Gulch IPA. Thanks, Dry Gulch.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. And thank you, Mountain Time as well. Delicious, smooth, crisp Mountain Time. It tastes like sucking on a woodland rock. Mountain Time. No, it's actually good. It's actually really tasty. Sorry, I don't want to offend Rob Mountain Time, who is here tonight, I believe.
Ooh, he draws a lot of water in this town.
That's a great minor expression. I love that. That's fantastic. But do you find yourself occasionally having to, bite your tongue or not joke or anything around your sons?
Oh, absolutely. Because
Okay.
I'm just a comic and I'm cynical, and I'll talk shit about the neighbors, and my wife will just be like, let's not put out negativity around them. You don't think they're just going to parrot that?
Yeah.
And so, I don't want them talking shit about Kim down the street, even though I am.
Sure. Kim, what are you doing? Why are you pissing off Adam? He's a sweet guy.
But I think, my wife and I, we have a friend who's very big into child development, and she's a very woke woman, and she's
Okay.
like turned us on to all this like anti-racist literature and all these children's books, and so we're already just like my wife's white, I'm white, it's a white household, so it's having books that represent other cultures around from day one, and be like, here's a story about a black family, and
Yeah.
here, I think that's just like gets in your kids' DNA and pulls them out of their white navel gazing a little bit.
Yeah, we've also just gotten Rose dolls that are different colors
Yeah.
than her,
I have a whole bit about that. I'm not trying to go into bits, but here we go.
Get it up, lay it out.
No, I wanted my boys, like Malcolm is just alpha male, trucks, and so we love it. We get him trucks, but I wanted to expand his toy portfolio. I was like, I'm gonna get him a doll baby, and in my head, I just thought, I guess it's a white doll baby, and I went to Target, and I was like, oh my God, they have every race of doll baby,
Totally.
and I was just spinning out. I was like, oh, you fucking straight white male, like of course you just get a white doll baby, like you're the problem. So anyway, I got a black female doll baby for our son Malcolm, Gabby, and he loves her. He loves Gabby.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But I was definitely just like, what kind of doll would Rachel Maddow buy? I don't want to make the wrong choice.
Yeah. And I will say it's disturbing because all my daughter does with her dolls is bite them and just bank their heads off the side of chairs. Like, she has like a little boy, and she'll just be like, oh, like just wrestling moves, just slam his face, and it would like be like a break the bridge of your nose kind of move. And I remember she had this little doll that I called Woodsman Wayne that was like a fantastic Mr. Fox guy, and he had suspenders, like a lumberjack guy, like a Denver man,
Yeah,
or an
Woodsman Wayne.
Oregonian. And he was in the crib with her, and I came in, and she's got him by the suspenders, and she's screaming in his face. And it's just like, you spent the rent money again, you fuck! I'll fucking kill you!
I'm tired of this, Wayne!
This goddamn one-horse town is killing us both. Fucking Los Angeles.
It turns into a Brokeback. I love you, Wayne. You're my best friend.
You, Wayne.
You're my best friend, but I hate you and I love you, Wayne.
I'm not attracted to you, Wayne. Yeah.
Good for Rose, man. I like that.
She's a gas, man. She cracks me up all the time, and she's almost too cute. Like I have strangers all the time that are like, she looks like a doll. I'm like, I don't like that compliment. That's weird. Looks like an inanimate object. Amazing, you know.
You know what I'm trying to get out of as a parent, and this is just a future tip, but it's like everyone comes up to your child and they're like, hey, what's your name, little buddy? How's it going? And my kid's so shy. He was like a COVID baby.
Yeah.
You know, and he just doesn't want to talk to people. And I see a lot of parents be like, Malcolm, you say hello to the person. You say hello. Hey, say hello, Malcolm. Like, that does nothing.
No.
And so I just like let him be aloof if he wants to be aloof.
Totally.
And I'd say to the guy, like, yeah, he's not really into socializing. But I see so many parents botch that move.
Yeah.
It's just like, don't force your kid to be at 2.5 this polite society person. They'll figure it out.
And speaking as a sensitive bitch, like, who is that adult who's just like, he won't say hi to me? It's like, it's a child. If I'm always like, hey, man, how you doing? They're like, look past you like, I don't give a fuck about you, man. Like, all the time. I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm a person. Like, I don't, it's a child. It doesn't
your kid's
hurt
got a
my
real attitude problem.
I think there's a correlation between Denver and Portland in that people think it's a lot nicer than it is in a lot of ways, especially our childhood. I bet you grew up around a bunch of wild parents. Like, I've met your parents.
Yeah.
They're great people. They're, nice, they're kind, but like, I was growing up around people whose parents were savage. Like, my friend Brandon's dad used to work on his motorcycle, and we'd like strip a gear, hurt himself. He'd go, fucking whore! Like, he'd yell whore at the motorcycle. And we're just like, oh, like, that makes me feel sad that your dad, like, what a horrible thing to yell at an inanimate object. Not that it feels anything, but let's talk about like memories of parents we grew up around that were like, Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to think of like hardcore parents like that. My parents are just hippies.
Okay.
So it's just very
Same.
You can do no wrong, buddy. Like, you having emotional issues? Let's get you to a shrink at 6 years old. So they encouraged everything. I'm trying to think of the stern parents. It was more just like the cool moms who was like, you guys can smoke weed in the basement. And that started early in this town. That was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit.
No, my buddy's uncle was the weed guy from Memorial Coliseum. Like, if the Eagles or the Whalers came through, he would drive up in a pickup truck with a giant potato sack full of weed and just be like, that's for Bob Marley and his friends. Where's my money? Like, he had a farm out in the woods and, was just dealing. Like, I knew friends who had parents my friend's parents had houses paid for with marijuana.
Jesus.
Like, clearly. Yeah. But I was thinking of, I remember waiting to drink out of a water fountain with a friend in a public park, and we were probably about 6, and it was me and my friend Eli, and there was a guy behind us, and he was holding a baby, and no water was coming out. And he's like, you girls gonna drink, or you're just gonna stand there all day? You girls. We're clearly boys. And he's just trying to alpha us, and I was so shocked. I was like, if someone said that to me, cool, he's an asshole, but he's holding a child. Like, he's raising a baby. And we're like, there's no water coming out. And he goes, then suck it. That's a dad. Like, that's someone's dad right now.
Oof. Some people have harder roads than others.
Yes. That poor kid, man. Okay, well, let's roll another call.
Hey, this is Doug, and I just had a question, had some advice I'd like to get on my issue. So issue is I'm 37 and I'm living with my parents again after being homeless and having a couple road trips and bad trips and failing at stand-up for about 14 years. And also I had a quick question for Adam, since I know he's going to be there. Hey, ¿cuándo vamos a empezar nuestro podcast Somos Bilingüenses? Porque ha pasado demasiado tiempo y me haces falta tú y pues vamos a hacerlo esto en un día de estos. Pero but anyway, so yeah, so that was my problem that I'm having right now, and I'm unemployed. I'm looking for work, and I've worked in the cannabis sector. I know you're doing this in Denver, and I want to sell under the name Doug Nugs one day, and just maybe get back on stage and try that again, and just get out of my parents' house and hair, respectively, so that I can be an adult and just kind of live life and quit jumping through fires like that one time. All right. Any and all advice would be appreciated. Okay. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy. I do love how no one knows what the calls are going to say or do, and when they kind of stutter and wait, you're like, well, okay, and we're still on. Like, I don't know if they've dropped off or not sometimes.
Right, sure.
But I'll throw it to you, but the only thing I would first off say is do not feel ashamed that you're living with your parents. I think we're at the all-time high culturally right now of people doing that, of all ages. I'm just glad you're not on the fucking streets. That's what counts. So don't feel, not that you should feel ashamed if you're unhoused, if you're listening to this, but, good, a roof with people that love you, thumbs up, nothing to be ashamed of. Hey, I am a hero. I appreciate that. Yes. Thank you. Finally, someone.
I'm telling you, you're a good enough dude to raise a son, Matt.
That means so much, Well, and I didn't talk about this a lot, but now that I have a daughter, I realize that women have feelings and rights. And I think that's... and then every time a fucking senator, like something sexual harassing happens or assaulting, he's like, now I have 3 daughters. So
right.
Did you not give a fuck about women before, man? What happened? Only one that was made by your jizz? Anyway, guys, I think, he was speaking Spanish.
I know this
to
guy.
you.
This is
You
Doug.
do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I met him in L.A. He's a comedian, and we one night jokingly talked about doing a podcast in Spanish because we both speak Spanish.
Right on.
And I think he was asking, when are we going to do that? And Doug, I was joking. I was just fucking joking. We were drunk, and I was just riffing with you in Spanish, and it seemed like a fun idea at the time. But I don't have the time. But it would be fun in another life.
Sure.
And my Spanish has fallen off. Yours is actually sounding pretty good still, Doug. I don't know what his question was. I think his question was like, should I get back into stand-up?
Sure.
And get out of my parents' house and do that? And I mean, of course, if that's what gets your blood going, go for it. But I think I don't think I would jump into it as a means to get out of your parents' house if that's the goal.
No.
I think what you need to do is find a job that you like and can set aside some money and then get a place and do stand-up on the side. But I think as stand-up is such a long-shot profession.
Right.
And as Matt and I can both attest, you think you're going to get to this point where you're like stable and I've done it, and you're still sweating and nervous about the next thing.
Yep.
And so I think to be trying to launch yourself after being homeless and in your parents' house into stand-up as a means to pull yourself out, I think it should be something you do because you love. I don't think it's going to be your economic freedom right now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, do it for fun, but definitely this is not the means to sustaining yourself financially for a long time.
Yeah, and I think he also is going through what a lot of us are going through, is like kind of like what's next, and I'm feeling really lost, and I'm feeling really fucked up and shattered, and I think that's a result of not only the pandemic, but I bring it up a lot on the podcast. I feel like for the last 4 or 5 years, we've had a level of collective anxiety that about 10 years ago I would have thought would be unsustainable and unendurable. And I think it's amazing and a testament to the human spirit that we're not all in here doing shots of Jaeger and punching each other in the mouth. Now, that might change in 20 minutes. I don't know. But
It is the high dive.
It is the high dive. But I think we all have to, just like you have to stop and go, all right, this is fucked up, and then you go from there. This is fucked up. What's going on, climate-wise, politics-wise, income inequality-wise. It's crazy. I remember we used to do a show called at the Lincoln Lodge in Chicago.
Yeah,
I think you've
love
done
it. Yes, I love Lincoln
it's
Lodge.
awesome. And one year they did a Christmas show, and it was a horrible idea because Mark Geary actually booked a dude to sing Christmas songs. And there was a guy there who was a comedian named Brian Petrovka who was dressed as Santa and was almost comically drunk. And we were by the bar, and he's just teetering on his feet, and he's looking at the guy singing, and he just goes, I want to tackle him. And I wish I would have been like, no, don't. That's a bad idea. You'll crush his acoustic guitar. You weigh at least 300 pounds, Brian. Please don't. But instead, being half drunk myself, I said, fuck it, tackle him. And it was like I cut the leash on a Doberman or a pit bull that saw a rabbit. Like, he took off faster than a man his size should be able to. And he picked him up. I don't know if you guys know football, but there's a move called a root hog, where you lift someone up by their feet and you slam them. John Cena does it, I know. And
Also a sponsor of the festival, Root Hog Pale Ale. Thank you, sir.
And John Cena pantalones. I don't know why they're called that. But getting the Spanish-speaking audience. But he slammed him, and the guy kept playing the Christmas song. Like, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Husler. And Brian's like doing elbow drops on him and kicking him. And the guy should have been like, fuck this, get off me, stop. And I think as a country and as a world, we have to stop and do that. We can't just keep singing the Christmas song, because we're getting tackled by a drunken Santa right now, and just got to call it out. We might not beat him. I think we can, but I think we have to just stop and go, whoa, 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 whoa. So to the caller, I think, Doug, I think you got to stop and just go, well, this is fucked up, but I know it's fucked up, but at least I'm safe. And at least I know I have options. There are people that have no options. There are people that are stuck in prison. There are people that are dealing with a debilitating disease. I didn't think I would go this dark, but you have to be grateful for what you have. And, Adam and I were silly enough to think that success would solve all our problems and make us happy. And to get to this certain point, all the bullshit goes away. And it doesn't. You kind of have to take care of yourself and make the choice to be happy. And I know, Doug, it's probably really hard to do that, but you sound like you've got sunshine and light inside you right now. Like, your voice sounds happy. You sound like you've got hopeful feelings inside of you. So I think it's like you're halfway there, man. The world's your oyster. Just take a look around and say to yourself, what do you really want to do? Stand up? Great, do stand up. But work for FedEx or whatever to kind of pay the bills. And then work from there.
Dude, that's so beautiful what you just said, and I can completely relate.
Thanks.
Especially about like the overwhelming feeling of like everything going to shit.
Yeah.
And I'd like to share like one story. I turned
Please.
40 last year, and
Gross.
it's disgusting. But I'm
47.
I'm 41 now, but I was on my 40th birthday. It was like June, so it was like the pandemic was just new,
Yeah.
and there was all the George Floyd protests going on, and I was going to have friends over to my backyard for a distanced 40th birthday party. I had elaborate plans, whatever, and then that night they instituted a curfew because shit was hitting the fan, and my friends were like, sorry, we can't do it. So I turned 40 with my wife in the backyard with enough booze for a party, and just listening to police helicopters and flashbangs, and it was wildfire, ash from the sky, and I was just like, the planet is fucking going to shit. Obviously, way bigger problems than my fucking sad 40th birthday party. Look at all those huge things going on.
No, that's just as bad.
It was just as bad. A fourth terrible thing. But I just remember feeling really fucking hopeless and sad about it all, and it was a miserable. And I woke up the next morning and I took my son bird watching, and we went on a hike. And it's just like, that was the small little thing I could find to be happy about. I can't control these big, terrible things at play. So, Doug, if stand-up is that for you, do it. And find the little things that give you this joy in this terrible, shitty world we're all navigating.
Absolutely, because it is pure acceptance. I always tell comics that are coming up, it's like, no one will remember you if you bomb, and that's a blessing. You know, no one goes home and was like, man, this guy ate shit. Do you remember what he said? I remember every word. No, you don't. You blocked it out because it was traumatic for you and him or her. You know, like, but you remember if someone killed, and if you're at an open mic and you're halfway good, it's like keys in front of a dog. They love it. They're like, fucking thank Christ. Someone knows what they're doing, you know, but I mean, it's a blessing to have those situations and to just be able to get up there. And it's like skydiving, man. It makes you feel alive. I've never skydove.
No,
Have
me
you?
neither. I find it obvious and a weird choice to feel alive.
I just feel, I just feel like that would be pushing it. I've been so lucky in my life. That's where the one where God would be like, fuck you then. You die. You know what I mean?
Fucking
Paris, you're going to jump out of a plane after all I've given you?
Yeah, there's certain ones where it's like you see that pool in London that's like glass and on the side of a building. It was just like if you're swimming in there and that falls off the side of the building, you deserve to fall off the side of the building.
How much of an asshole would you feel falling to your death? Like, why did I...
In this pool.
Could have just gone to a Holiday Inn and swam around. Fuck, man.
I wanted to see London from above and in water.
Had to press my dick against the glass. Check out my Big Ben. Oh!
Yeah, honestly, that's a cool way to go.
That is a cool way to go.
When you took it to that level, now I see the appeal.
Like, what if your dick broke the glass?
Whoa.
Like, there was already way too much pressure, and you just hit that one point. You know, oh my God!
National hero.
It's bigger than I thought. Oh, dick jokes.
Oh, the English.
I love that you still have this festival. Thank you for bringing it back. First off.
Fuck yeah! Thanks
And
for
also,
doing it, Matt.
Yeah, dude. This is a joy. Thanks, guys. And I just feel like Denver's such a good town for comedy. It has hands down the best comedy club in the country, Comedy Works, which is scientifically designed to be amazing.
Absolutely.
Like the way it's built, the way it's ran, it's just, Wendy's a genius. Like it's so cool. And I am trying to get booked there again. But no, but it is. It's like, I feel like every club owner who builds a club should go there and be like, yep, let's go to spec. Like, can I borrow the blueprints? It should be like this. It should be shaped like an arrowhead, you know?
Should be weird smells, a leak that won't stop in the green room for
Yeah.
going on 26 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I play the Comedy Store every week in L.A., but Mickey Cohen used to murder people in the basement, and you can feel that in the walls.
I have to say, Matt was involved. There's Charlene, our friend Charlene is here in a festival called the Bridgetown Comedy Festival, which was in Portland, and I got invited to that early on in my comedy career, and it opened so many fucking doors for me.
Cool.
And I went to Bridgetown, and I was like, Denver needs this. So I've always just been like, we copied Bridgetown, we brought the formula here, a music fest style, you can bounce into this venue, that venue, and Denver's taken the ball and ran with it. It's a great comedy town. And
It takes the grit and work and the struggle that people like Charlene and Andy Wood and not me did for Bridgetown. I mean, but you did that,
similarly, Karen, my partner in the fest, does the grit and the struggle and all, and our amazing staff
is amazing.
And I just sit up here with famous friends and goof and riff.
Yeah, we all have our strengths. But I think it should be in every town. I suggest other comics get into it, and let's be clear. Yeah, okay, this is your version of Bridgetown, but it is its own thing.
For sure.
I thought we were way more ripped off by other fests that would partner with Golden Voice or whatever, and bring in these, which is great too, and bringing these giant acts, but wristbands cost $200 or something insane. I think this is kind of like by the people for the people, but it's not gross and communist.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, let's all go to the state capitol building right now together as a group.
Now. They're ready for us. Charge!
We've got a bus.
If you don't have a nipple ring, though, fuck off. You don't get to come. Put on your headdress. Okay, Adam, we have one more call.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so hopefully this one's a doozy. And I just want to savor this moment because this will be the last call of the pod. And this is the first time I've done this Might Help Live. And I just love it when a call pipes in. I love watching you guys' faces and wondering. And I did an earlier incarnation of this. I used to do advice on my first podcast, Ding Donger with Matt Braunger. And was a great title. I miss it sometimes. But I invented it so people knew how to say my name, if I'm honest.
Were those fans dingers or dongers?
Oh, fuck. Both.
Both.
Why not?
Yeah, ding dongers.
Yeah, and I will say, friends and my wife will yell, Donger, to get my attention, and it's always funny where people are like, your name is Donger? It's really weird. But I loved that one of the calls was a guy who was like, hey, I think my dick is weird. And it was like, just to see everyone's face go, what the what advice can you give on someone's penis or whatever? So hopefully this call isn't too much of a bummer with that intro. But even if it is, it's so fun to be experiencing it, not only for the first time with my guest, but with you guys. So I appreciate it. Let's roll the fourth and final call. Here we go.
Matt Braunger, David Dean here, big fan. I wish I was attending the show in person with you and Adam Cayton-Holland. Please tell Adam hello. I have a question for you. I know everyone there is a big fan of Norm Macdonald, as were both you and Adam and whoever else was on the show today. How could they not be? I do not mean to bring the vibes down. I want to keep it happy and keep it funny, but I am also genuinely curious what some of your first memories of Norm were, or memories of you meeting him, or how he influenced your comedy. Just any thoughts, stories on the great Norm Macdonald. Thanks so much. Have fun in Denver. Bye-bye.
All right.
I love that question.
That's a great question.
Absolutely.
And that's not a downer at all.
No, it's it's a downer for sure because we're all sad that Norm's gone. But like,
Oh, yeah.
I've said this to a friend. Like, we're all pouring through his comedy right now.
Yeah.
The day he died, I watched 15 things. Just I watched the 1998 ESPYs where he went to town just with the most incredible monologue. So like, it is cool to enjoy that dude's work and like remember when Harris Whittles died.
Yeah.
I went and listened to all his podcast appearances. I just deep dived into it, and I'm doing it with Norm Macdonald. So it's like the good thing about a comedian is that they can leave behind this body of work that you can still go and celebrate. So I've just been really sad, but watching Norm's stuff and what a genius.
And I think that's all you can do because life is impermanent. And sorry, everyone here is going to die. So whatever you leave behind, I'm sorry. I had a history teacher say that once in college, and it fucked me up so bad I had to pass it on. Even me? But
then he pulls the fire alarm.
Yeah, yeah, he's like, me right now. Oh, Jesus. What a way to go. But Norm said, I have cancer, but as far as I know, when you die, the cancer dies. That's not a loss, that's a draw, you know?
Great joke, man.
It's an amazing joke. And
yeah.
It's a great philosophy where it's like, it goes with me, so it can't hurt anybody else kind of thing. And 61 is way too young, but I just think he was almost like a mythical creature more than a person. Like, I don't know if anyone ever got all that close to him, even people that were close, but I will say, you asked for memories. I met him for the first time, and I never mentioned this, and all the times we were around each other in, like, comedy clubs and stuff. Before I was a comedian, I was going to college in New York, and my then girlfriend and I, and two friends who were dating, and two other friends went into the city to bar hop. We were in a bar. Norm had just gotten Saturday Night Live, so this would have been the mid-'90s when I was in college. I know I don't look that old. It's true. But he was there just drinking by himself. And I was like, hey, aren't you on Saturday Night Live? And I hadn't even thought about doing comedy yet. I was just a pretentious actor back then. But I was a huge SNL fan. And he was like, yeah. And he came and sat at our table. And he was definitely making eyes at my friend Lori, who was dating my friend Eric. And Eric picked up on that and did not like it at all. And he picked up on that too. Norm did. And Norm was like, hey, I got an idea. Why don't, said to Lori, I'm not going to do Norm because I can't. But he's like, why don't you and I make out? And then points at Eric, you make out with her. And he points at my girlfriend. I'm like, fuck no. And Eric's like, no, man, like all angry, you know. And he just said it like it was the most normal thing in the world. Like, let's just swing, baby. Let's just all kiss each other. I got an idea. Like, what? Well, this guy's out of his mind. And then my friend Lisa was like, I'll make out with you. And she made out with him. And I wrote that online. And I'd forgotten my friends Randy and Lisa were there. And Randy wrote, didn't Lisa make out with him? And I was like, holy shit, I forgot. And Lisa, who I haven't seen in like 25 years, wrote on the Instagram, he was a very good kisser.
Oh,
so I was
wow.
like, boom. That's amazing. That happened,
You gotta love the confidence of a comic bound for SNL. Just hey, 3 ladies that want to make out? Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was that. It was. I remember seeing Eddie Murphy Delirious when I was a kid and being like, I've never seen confidence like that. And I still haven't. but Norm came close. You know
That's
what I mean?
amazing.
Norm
That's amazing.
didn't care. You know, he didn't care how a set went. He didn't care if he burned to the ground. That was Norm.
Billy Madison's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
I love Billy Madison so much. And Norm Macdonald and that other actor who are Adam Sandler's idiot friends in that movie are such funny non sequitur jokes throughout that I watched that the other night as well. It's just like I'm deep diving on Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, what's your go-to? Like you can only show people one clip of Norm Macdonald. What would you show?
That Conan one with where he's making fun of Carrot Top.
Yep.
I rewatched that interview and like it wouldn't happen today. Like the manager would come pull his client off set, but he just continued. And when the moment where Conan's like, she says the name of the film is Chairman of the Board, and Conan's like, do something with that, and he spells board. He goes, I bet it's spelled Bored, and you can see Conan explode.
Yeah.
He was not expecting that.
He feels so
immediate,
bad for
clever.
Courtney Thorne-Smith.
Right.
He feels so, and as we all did. It's like just deer in the headlights. Like this isn't supposed to happen, but it is, and it just is brutal, and you can't help but laugh. And it, there's something about a comedian who just calls out, the emperor's naked. That's it. He has no clothes, and we all kind of know it, but who's going to say it, and it's going to hurt feelings, but fuck it. And that was...
What was your go-to, Norm?
That
yeah, exactly.
That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say, too, because it was that moment where it's like, yeah, it's going to be mean, but it's true, and we all got to work, but that movie sucks, and we know it sucks before we've seen it. You see the poster, and you're like, man, that movie's terrible. And Carrot Top is a lovely man. Like, he's a good guy, but there's kind of a reason he was the butt of the joke for so long with his huge bucket of props and bodybuilder's body, and eyeliner. But look, that's his choice. Yeah. But, I mean, it sucks. I mean, I didn't even know that he had cancer. Did you know?
No, I didn't know him very well. I've opened for him once here, and I'm just like a fan from afar. But I couldn't claim to have any sort of intimate friendship with him at all. I certainly didn't know he had cancer.
Yeah.
So that's why it was so shocking that day. I just had no idea, and I was like 61, man.
Yeah, and it just seems like people are just going right now. And every time you turn around, somebody... Fucking Trevor Moore, from Whitest Kids. It's one of those things where when I found out he died, I was like, well, that's not true. We texted 3 days ago about getting a drink. Like there's no way he's dead. But it's that fast, and life is just that sadly temporary. But look, I remember my friend Gus died in Chicago out of nowhere, and I remember being at a party, and I had a real moment of clarity where I was like, would he want me to be all wrecked and sad like I am right now? Or would he want me to be happy with the people that we have left? Like, really, I mean, besides Adam, I think everyone here, if they die, wants people to not be sad. Like, honestly, you want a temple built, let's be honest.
I want a temple built. I want stories.
Yes.
1 month of mourning citywide.
Broncos helmet under your arm.
Elway's there. Steve Atwater.
A statue of you plus Elway's crying at your feet, and you're ascending into heaven.
A city mourns.
Slapping Elvis and Jesus out of the way
You
to
got
get
it.
into heaven.
You got it.
It's very convoluted, enormous. It dwarfs most buildings in Denver, actually. How great would that be if you just had you commissioned like a giant like Adam Cayton-Holland head?
Oh my God! If I had fuck you money, I would build the most garish. I would just commission a statue to be revealed when I die. And it's just all that shit. Oh, that'd be
You've
so funny.
You've already had it passed and licensed. No one can fight it.
Yeah, in secret, I got the paperwork for a certain corner. Like, I've made it. It's official. It's a statue in town. That would be the best final joke.
Yeah, and it's just to make parents have to explain it to their kids. Who
I'm on a
was that?
skateboard. I never even skateboarded. They're just like, this guy's fucking cool.
You're ollieing.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
I want to piggyback what you were saying
Yes.
because I had a lot of loss, and I lost a very dear friend recently, and
sorry.
he's the exact same thing. I had the exact same thought. I was like, I'm crying my eyes out, but this dude would not. All we did was laugh.
Yeah.
That was our entire fucking relationship. All we did was laugh. And if he's like, I don't want you sad. He's like, yeah, sure, mourn me for a few days, but come on, man, we laugh, we're funny,
Yeah.
we're happy guys. And I think Norm would be the same fucking way. He's like, come on, I'm all about the jokes.
Yeah,
enjoy the jokes.
He would appear and say something hideously inappropriate
Right.
and disappear.
Right.
And not care about the funeral at all,
Right.
Would come late or something and rip on everyone there and then just, bye-bye and evaporate or
This
something.
shit goes fast, so enjoy the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't dwell on the sad.
Exactly. I wasn't going to do this, but if anyone has it, just real quick before we wrap up, does anyone have anything they want to ask about advice-wise? Want to, raise a hand?
Nobody.
Nobody? Awesome. Wait at the back. You, sir, in the white hat.
What do you think of Doug's cannabis brand, Doug's Nugs?
Doug's cannabis brand, Doug's Nugs?
In the earlier call.
Oh, did he mention a cannabis brand?
Oh, I couldn't even hear that.
I didn't hear that.
Thank
Wait.
Christ I did this.
So is he-
Poor Doug and his Nugs.
Is
Go
he
ahead.
trying to market it? Is that like his business plan? Oh. That's a way smarter choice than comedy, dude. Go-
Absolutely. Sell marijuana. Yeah.
Yeah, there's your fucking ticket out,
Yeah,
Doug.
Don't be another dick joke slinger.
No.
Sling weed.
Ganjapreneur, bruh.
Doug's Nugs. That's fantastic. Listen. I have a special I'm taping, and I have a bit about a guy named Doug who's the worst guy I ever met, which is odd because I think 99% of Dougs are dope. They're awesome dudes, and they're proficient in the weed arts. So Doug's Nugs, that sounds like a throwback. That sounds like somebody you'd buy from in high school or college, and you would smoke it out of a horrible wooden pipe that heat up way too fast. I'm pro Doug's Nugs.
Yeah, Doug's Nugs. Best smoked through an apple. You got it, dude.
There you go. So we're sponsored by Mountain Time and Doug's Nugs. Doug's Nugs.
And if it doesn't work, you can sell it to Doug Benson. You're gold either way.
And on that note, let's ride, man. Give it up for Adam Cayton-Holland, everybody.
Thanks,
doing
everybody.
the podcast. And for Jake Brown, filling in for my producer, Renee. And for yourselves, guys, get out there. Be a better person. Try something that might or might not help. But all in all, just choose joy, guys. Choose joy. And enjoy all the shows. And let's give it up one more time for the High Plains Comedy Festival. May it live forever. Thank you, guys. If you haven't called in yet, you should. Call me. Leave a message for me and my guests at 323-763-0228. 323-763-0228. And thanks. This Might Help with Matt Braunger was created and hosted by me, Matt Braunger. Produced by Outer Circle Media. Executive producers Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcasts.